Hi guys, hi, welcome everyone back to today's video. But in today's video we shall be looking at something that looks interesting, and that is Dagaabas in Ghana, in the upper west region of Ghana, who are true Hebrews. But it saddens me that sometimes people think that when the Bible talk about the Israelites, they were just a bunch of white people, or they are a bunch of white people. But that's not true. But since the inception of civilization through political oligarchy, there are certain religious narratives that has actually been maliciously twisted just to meet a supremacy agenda. And this has subsequently resulted in blasting people feeling inferior and thinking that they are being sidelined from being part of the 12th tribe of Israel. But there are a lot of African tribes who were originally part of the 12th tribe of Israel. When the Bible talks about Hebrews, blasting people are actually the true Hebrews. Surprisingly, but through the movies that we watch and a whole lot of wrong narratives has actually indoctrinated us for a very long time, until some of these things start to surface up. Dagaabas are true Hebrews from a tribe known as the tribe of Dan. That's one of the 12 tribes. And in case you are still doubting me, as you follow me on this video to the end of this video, you get to realize that we have actually been lied to. In fact, Africans are actually true Hebrews. And I'm going to point out certain biblical connections, antecedents that connect to the fact that Dagaabas are true Hebrews. We look at the language, we look at the culture, the traditions, and you see it clearly with biblical connections that shows our roots. So in order to miss out on the details of this video, make sure to stick and stay around. In fact, if you are a regular follower of this channel, you notice that in one of my videos, I talk about the origin of black skin people and white skin people, and where I also debunk the whole idea of race, the whole idea of color, black or white skin. I think this was a whole agenda that was used to actually make black skin people to look inferior, and therefore color was slapped on us. Meanwhile, in the biblical days, there was nothing like color. We're all seen as one. And in that video, you get to notice that the favor of God, fortunately for Jacob, who was black skinned, the favor of God was upon him, and Jacob was picked and chosen to birth the 12th tribe of Israel. So a black skinned person actually birthed the 12th tribe of Israel. So in case you have not watched that video, I think it will be prudent you watch that video. That will give you much insight and help you better understand this video. And then you see the dots, you see how things are connected in these two videos. So in case you have not watched it, I advise you watch that video as well to help you link up. So now let's look at the whole cultural narrative, cultural link, language link, traditional link, biblical connection that affirm that Dagaabas are true Hebrews as part of the children of Israel who are scattered across the globe. And what I always say is that just look at the language. Look at the culture, the traditions. They are so traceable to Hebrew culture. Let's look at the settlement, the biblical settlement. It is also worth noting that it's not all the 10 tribes of Israel that crossed Jordan to Canaan, but some of the tribes took portions outside Canaan and then dwell there. In fact, the tribe of Dan already had their portion already allocated to them, and that was Gilead, the land of Gilead. The land of Gilead comprised of Gibeon, Jezer, and Aroah. And then later on, the half tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Gad, and the Reubenites, when they saw the land of Bashan and being basically farmers, these were people that were cattle rearers. So when they saw that the land was fertile, they equally, just like their brothers, the tribe of Dan, who are farmers, and they saw the land of Gilead and they were interested, they made a request to Moses to dwell in that land. And that request was granted based on the agreement that they will go with their brothers to Canaan and then defeat the 7 Canaanite tribes. Then they will now come back and dwell on that land. So they actually followed their brothers. They went, and after they conquered the land of Canaan, they returned to dwell in the land of Bashan. And on that land, the tribe of Reuben, the Reubenites, they shared boundary with Gilead. In fact, they took the portion of the land of the Moabite, and then which shared boundary with Gilead. So that means that the Reubenites and the tribe of Dan, they were neighbors. They shared boundaries. And then it is interesting to also note that these tribes that took their portion outside Canaan and didn't follow their brothers to Canaan were able to maintain the pure Hebrew culture. Why? Because they intermarried within themselves, and they didn't lose touch with the pure Hebrew culture. They were able to maintain the language, the traditions, the way of Hebrew life. They were able to maintain it. But then, unfortunately for their brothers who crossed over to Canaan and dwell on the land of Canaan, they lost touch with the Hebrew traditions and culture. And how did this not happen? In fact, in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 16 to 18, God charged the tribe of Israel that when they cross over to Canaan, they should destroy all the Canaanites. In fact, these people were mostly idol worshippers. So God charged them that they should destroy everything and not leave anything alive. But then, out of the stubbornness of the tribe of Israel, they got there and they didn't destroy all of them. They still left some of them there. And this became a snare unto them as God warned them. It became a snare unto them. They intermarried with them and they were lured into idol worship. And in fact, the culture, the Hebrew culture, they lost touch with the Hebrew culture. And that is why, if you go to Israel currently, there are more white people than black Hebrews that you will not understand. But these are the remnant of the situation at Canaan, that mixture. It's actually what has resulted in this situation. So you find a lot of people that classify themselves as Israelis, but they are not actually Israelis. See, and in fact, what Israel is currently going through, this is part of the reason why they are going through what they are going through today. If they had destroyed all of them, they would not have been going through what they are going through currently. See? Then when you look at these tribes, the tribe of Dan and the Gadite, the Reubenite, the half tribe of Manasseh, they were able to maintain the Hebrew culture. And that's what the book of Luke referred to these tribes as the Israelites. So when you hear about the Israelites, referring to the tribe of Dan, Gad, tribe of Reuben, and then the half tribe of Manasseh, they were able to maintain the pure culture of the Hebrew people. And that is how it come that you still find the Dagaabas still having those traces of Hebrew culture that we have maintained. So it's not surprising. You see, so what happened is that with the cutting out of the Dagaabas, it was later on that the tribe of Dan, through relocations, they moved closer to the tribe of Gad. They shared boundary with the tribe of Gad. And these two tribes, they intermarried. Being brothers, they intermarried. And in this intermarriage then brought a mixture of Dan and Gad. So that is how come we have the cut out tribe known as Dagaaba. And in fact, Dan and God will give you Dagaaba, and then subsequently the language Dagari. Interesting. So that's why you still find that with the Dagaaba tribe, they still have that Hebrew, that pure Hebrew connection in the language, in the tradition, in the culture, and a whole lot of things. See? So now with this background as a thing, let's look at the linguistic, the culture, the traditions that is traceable to Hebrew and being Israelis. It is worth noting that through resettlement out of wars and the 10 tribes that are scattered across the globe, intercultural marriages has toned down and evaporated much of the Hebrew language among Dagaabes. But even with this, we still have traces of the ways that we are still using unknowingly. So now let's look at some of these ways. Hebrews call angel Malaka. Then Dagaabe is the same thing, Malaka. Then let's look at the word Baraka. Baraka. Baraka in Hebrew means blessing, thank you. You come to Dagari, it bears the same meaning. Baraka, blessing, thank you. The same meaning. Then look at the word Pala. Pala in Hebrew means something new, something wonderful. Then you come to Dagari, it bears the same meaning. Something new, something wonderful, something you have not seen before. Something new, wonderful. See? Then you look at how Hebrews call Jesus Yeshua, and Dagari Yesu. So there's still that link there. You see? So these words are still ways we are still using. And they are not completely lost. In fact, I know if we trace back some centuries back, you realize that there were much of these ways that we were using, but we have lost them all through mingling, intercultural marriages, and then geographical relocations, resettlements. Has toned down the language. Now, that's not all. Let's continue to look at the culture, the traditions. In Hebrew culture, a married woman who plays infidelity or sex outside marriage is abhorred upon and considered defiled. That's why God made reference to that in Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 1 to 25. Similarly, you come to the Dagaaba culture. A married woman who plays the harlot, it seems to be defiled and not permitted back to the marital home. In fact, if certain traditions are not followed strictly, it could bring about plagues on the woman or even the husband until certain purification rituals are performed. She's not allowed back home to the marital home. So it's still that connection still existing. Let's also look at what is known as giving of first fruit. Presenting first fruit was an ordinance God commanded the children of Israel to do. It was a practice that they were supposed to always do, to bring their first fruit to the altar. And then this is something that Dagaabes traditionally are still doing. Dagaabes bring their first fruit, just that because of that disconnect from Yahweh, it has been corrupted into being idol ritual. But you can still see the connection of that first fruit practice. And another thing is the use of the sling that the Dagaabes call pala. They use for hunting, they use for scaring away animals from the farm. It was this same sling that David used to kill Goliath. And then in war, the children of Israel used arrows, bows and arrows. And then Dagaabes still use bows and arrows traditionally. We still use bows and arrows. You see them having them in the animal skin. The arrows are there with the bows. And it's a culture that is traceable to Hebrews. And these are things that current Dagaabes might not even know. But sadly, in fact, some of these things are going on and extinct. They are no more being practiced. And that's why it's kind of like it's no more seen commonly among Dagaabes. Then let's also look at how Dagaabes handle strangers and how Hebrews also welcome and handle strangers. In the Hebrew culture, when they receive a stranger from a faraway journey, the first thing they do is to give you water to wash your feet. After which they can now maybe give you water to bath and give you food to eat and then give you a place to sleep. Traditionally, in a local traditional Dagaaba setting, they do it. When a stranger comes from a faraway journey, you are given water and they will ask you to wash your feet. After which you are then maybe given food or given water to bath, given food to eat, and then given the place to rest. You see, so you see that direct connection. That's not all. Let's look at the food. Let's look at the food. And you want to know what that food is? Now, in the book of Leviticus chapter 6 verse 21, God instructed Aaron and the Levites to, in giving offering, those that bring flour, to mix the flour with oil as burnt offering to God. And then this indicate that this was already a meal that the children of Israel, they were eating. Flour, oil, flour prepared, mixed with oil. And then what is that food? Kankale. And that's what the Dagaabes still eat today. In fact, also the widow at Zarephath, if you read 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 7 to 16, the widow at Zarephath, when Elijah got to her after the drought, the famine, Elijah asked her to prepare him a meal. And she complained that what was left with her was just flour and oil. And that's what she was going to prepare for her and the son to eat and then die. And what was she going to prepare? Kankale. You see, and it's still this kankale that today Dagaabes, we still eat kankale. I don't know whether now it's still Dagaabes still it because some of these things are eventually going on an extinct. In fact, culture is dying. So I don't know what Dagaabes still eat kankale. But I think sometimes they even mix meat when they go to hunt meat from the bush. Meat they've hunted from the bush, they can mix this meat with the flour and then prepare the kankale and put the oil and start eating. You see, so where do we get this thing from? This is still traceable to Hebrew culture that we have not lost. See, and sadly, these are things that are going on and extinct, that are no longer being practiced because of the embracing of contemporary lifestyles, and because culture now is becoming dynamic. So some of these things are going on and extinct. And even if you trace back to to Israel, some of these things might not still be practiced because culture is now becoming dynamic. You see, so that is how that we are very connected, that we don't even know. You see, interesting. And in fact, our close brothers are the remaining two tribes that are in Israel currently, the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah. They are our brothers. And that's why if we go to Israel currently, you still find some of them being black who are in Israel. So now a legit question will be that if we're part of the 12 tribes of Israel, why is that Dagaabes are not in Israel? And we are in Africa, in Ghana. And why is that other African tribes who are also part of these Hebrews are not in Israel? Let's not forget that in Israel we have the northern Israel, the northern kingdom, and the southern kingdom. So the northern kingdom is made up of the 10 tribes, and the 10 tribes, and the southern kingdom is made up of the tribe of Judah and then Benjamin. So the northern kingdom was basically Samaria. But what happened that we are actually scattered across the globe. In fact, God warned the children of Israel against sin, against harlotry, against sin, that if they disobey God, he will scatter us across the globe. So in 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 3 to 6, you see this account. In 1720 BC, the king of Assyria, King Shalmaneser, invaded Samaria and took away all the 10 tribes to captivity. And then instead of returning them, he never did so. He rather brought in 7 other tribes to settle in Samaria. And then that is plain why our brothers, the tribe of Benjamin and Judah, they never considered the Samaritans to be their brothers. And that is how come that when Jesus Christ at the wall requested for water to drink from the Samaritan woman, she declined, insisting that the Jews have nothing to do with the Samaritans. You see, that was because the tribe of Benjamin and Judah did not consider them to be their brothers, because we are been taken away. So in reality, in Israel currently, a lot of them were the Jebusites, the Hivites, and the other 7 Canaanite tribes that the children of Israel, out of their stubbornness, refused to destroy all of them. And these were basically white-skinned people. And the other 7 tribes, the king of Assyria, also brought to add up. And that's why a lot of people are tempted to think that to be an Israelite, it means you should be a white-skinned person. And it's so sad that this kind of biblical background, people are not in touch with this biblical background. You see, so there are a lot of people in Israel right now who claim to be Israelites, but they are not. So you see, and from there in captivity, we, through constant wars and other circumstances, we are scattered across the globe. So in fact, the 10 tribes are currently lost. It will be hard to trace all the 10 tribes, but through intermarrying and resettlement, we are scattered across the globe. So the only tribe that are remaining is the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah, who are currently in Israel. So that's why it will be out of sheer ignorance for someone to think that to be an Israelite, you have to be white. And therefore, if you are black, you are not Israelite. They don't even know that it's our own history that we have lost touch with. See, it's so sad. And like I said, it is not only Dagaabes who are true Hebrews. There are other African tribes as well. In fact, the Hebrews too, it doesn't mean that all the Hebrews were actually black-skinned people. Just that we're the majority, the black-skinned were the majority in the Hebrew tribe, were the majority. Well, guys, I don't know to make the video long. If you want to read more, you can visit my website, to read on my blog post. You can go to my blog post and you can read more of my articles on my blog post on www.DiZCOVASELF.com. There is a link in the description. You can visit my site and you can have access to more of my content. And then we all get ourselves educated on some of these things. In case you have stayed with me from the beginning to the end of this video, I want to believe you might have gotten value in this video. And in case that's the case, do not forget to give me a like. It's very important for the YouTube algorithm and to help others to be able to see this video, so we all get educated about some of these things. You can equally subscribe in case you want to get more content of this nature coming from me. You can subscribe to the channel so that anytime I do upload a video, you can have access to the video. I thank you for sticking and staying around. I see you again another time with another video. Bye bye.